Do this.
Mr. Squidward, welcome to the night shift.
Hello, everybody, and happy Thursday, and welcome in to another edition of the Night Shift here on the MI6 Sports Network. My co-host, Callum McClure, could not be here tonight, so I'm joined tonight by my guy, Loro Antonio, who you can catch on Wild Sports Talk, as well as the Extra Point Show every Sundays. Loro, thanks for joining me here tonight on the Night Shift. I know it was kind of like a last-minute thing that we decided to do, but how are you doing on this Thursday night?
I'm doing great. I enjoyed the game tonight. It was a great game for Tom Brady and the Bucs, and I'm ready to talk some football tonight.
Yeah, definitely. For me too. It was a great game to kick off the 2021 NFL season as the Tampa Bay Buccaneers pull off the 31-29 victory over the Dallas Cowboys in an epic game. Before we get into that, just want to remind you folks out there a couple of things that if you haven't yet, please go follow the MI6 Sports Network on Facebook. You can catch our Facebook page. We have it. We're going to put it actually in the comment section of this video. Go like our Facebook page and follow us as well. You can find our podcast as well as our articles and announcements on our Facebook page. Also, like us on or follow us on Twitter as well as Instagram. And also, you can check out our MI6 Sports Network website, which will be posted on our the comment section of this video. You can find on our podcasts, our short videos, as well as our articles from various members of the MI6 Sports Network family on our website as well. So go check that out after this show is over. We do have a couple of comments that have flooded in here as we get started here tonight. Kobe Forever 248, thanks for tuning in tonight. He says, this thunder and lightning, it is so loud, LOL. But Loro, let's get started, shall we? The NFL season kicked off on Thursday night tonight as Tom Brady and the defending champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers hosted Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys, and it's Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers pulling out a 31-29 victory on a Ryan Suckup game-winning 36-yard field goal to give the Buccaneers the win with about 7 seconds left in the ball game. Tom Brady, he had a fantastic night. He had 32 of 50 for 379 yards, 4 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, although one of those interceptions came on a Hail Mary. So it wasn't really his fault. Also, the Buccaneers, Leonard Fournette, 9 carries for 32 yards. Ronald Jones had 4 carries for 14 yards, including 1 costly fumble early in the ballgame. As far as the receiving corps is concerned, Antonio Brown, 5 catches, 121 yards and a touchdown. Chris Godwin, 9 catches, 105 yards and a touchdown. Rob Gronkowski, huge night for him, 8 catches, 90 yards and 2 touchdowns. Mike Evans, 3 catches for 24 yards for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And for the Cowboys, Dak Prescott, 42 of 58, 403 yards, 3 touchdowns and 1 interception. Loro, I'm going to start with you first on this. It was a great game. It was basically these two teams going back and forth. You had Tampa Bay going touchdown, and then Dallas touchdown, and then Tampa Bay, Dallas, and then back and forth they went. But Loro, what was your reaction to this victory by Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers over the Dallas Cowboys on opening night?
As a Tom Brady fan myself, you know how good he is, and he is the GOAT. He led the Bucs to another opening game-winning drive. Sorry, I said opening here, folks. So, also, I thought that he had a great game throwing these 2 touchdown passes to Gronk. And the play I liked the most was when he threw that ball deep down the field, and then Antonio Brown made a circus catch into the end zone for the touchdown. And I just thought that the Buccaneers feel like that they're the favorites to win it all again, if you look at it. But I thought the Cowboys, they played hard, but at the same time, the Dallas Cowboys just couldn't get it done defensively as they choked yet again in these type of games.
Yeah, definitely well said, Loro. We welcome in John Alcorn from the God Over Money Sports Network. John, I know you were on the Colorcast app calling this ball game as well with Loro tonight. John, first of all, welcome to the night shift. I know we even have this planned like 45 minutes ago. We just literally just were like, hey, let's do the night shift tonight. Let's do it in about 10 minutes. Starting the show right now. But John, welcome to the program. How are you doing on this Thursday night?
We are good. It's just like Christmas, man. Dallas loses again. It is like Christmas every single time. It was very exciting. When I say nail biter, I was literally biting my nails while I was doing the Colorcast app because it was like, dude, I was scared at first. I was like, oh no, my fears have potentially come true in the NFL. The Cowboys make the upset, but we're good, man. But I'd be doing sports and didn't expect to do a show tonight.
Yeah, this was definitely a nail-biting game for sure. You know, we were, me, you, and everybody else in the Coast to Coast and MI6 group chat. You know, we were going back and forth on this game. It was a very, very exciting game. I think some of the people at McDonald's probably were annoyed by me because I was literally watching it on my phone while enjoying my coffee and a guava and cream pie. And
why don't you go home and watch the game?
Well, I was, but my family was doing some studying at home, so I just went to McDonald's. I didn't want to be screaming while they were doing that, so I went to McDonald's. I was like screaming, or I wasn't screaming. I was like, every time, you know, a touchdown happened, I was like, yeah, let's go, baby, let's go. And then I was like, Tom Brady, please throw it to Mike Evans because I had him on my fantasy team. So the people at McDonald's, I'm sorry for all the loud, outrageous noise. But John, you heard what Loro had to say about this game. What was your overall thoughts on this game?
This is going to be repetitive. Their defense is super undisciplined. I mean, my goodness, here. An arrest warrant needs to be sent out for DeMarcus Lawrence because apparently he didn't show up in this game. He didn't show up for Dallas in 2019. He didn't show up for Dallas in 2020. And this is the truth. We've seen this, folks, lower, and I say it, is that when certain players get paid, they stop playing. And that's what happened with D-Law. I mean, that one of those big touchdown catches by Gronk in a big play from Tom Brady to Gronk. Who was on the defensive side of the ball right there supposed to get past Gronk and get to the quarterback? That was supposed to be DeMarcus Lawrence. I mean, you could take advantage of the Dallas 2 or 3 takeaways that really have us. Your special teams has to be more efficient. You got to capitalize on those plays. I mean, your first kick, you had a kick 35-yard that had almost 92% chance of making it. And you went wide left. Another kick, 31 to 32 yards, folks. Almost 91 completion percentage of a chance to make it. And he misses it and then goes wide left again. I'm not saying they would have won the game because of those, but that definitely could have been put the Dallas Cowboys in a better position much later in the game. If you just think about it, that's almost 9 to 12 extra points Dallas could have had. I'm not saying completely. That defense definitely wasn't a huge help either. But that could have helped him out later in the game. The passing attack for Dallas is so bad. And this is what I said about Jamal Adams in Seattle. It's like one defensive player can't do it all for the whole team. You're going to have to rely on DeMarcus Lawrence and Van Der Esch. Van Der Esch only had 3 or 4 tackles, if even that, this whole game. So Van Der Esch was supposed to be one of your star defensive players with DeMarcus Lawrence. And I forget who it was the defensive side of the ball. They didn't get it done. Less than 10 tackles between those 3 guys together. So if this is what we're learning moving forward, you don't have the brotherhood. You don't have your main defensive players getting it done with that star offensive line against Tampa Bay. If you can't do that against a top team, what makes you think in week 10 or week 12? So that's going to be an issue. Discipline on the offensive line. Special teams has to be corrected. And again, their passing attack is going to be having an issue, and they may have to have some uncomfortable conversations with DeMarcus Lawrence because this is his 3rd season again on that contract. This is Ezekiel Elliott's first year in his 6-year contract, folks. They only gave him the ball 11 times. This is not going to be 2016 where you give the ball 15 to 20 times and he could win you a game. This is not that Steelers playoff game. But the fact of the matter is, for the most part in the game, up until towards the end of the third quarter into the fourth, Ezekiel Elliott only had 6-7 carries. And the problem is, and I understand that you got Pollard, but he's also a special teams player. If you're playing a guy, like you all know, I need running back for 6 total seasons, and through almost 3 quarters, you give him 6-7 carries. 10 total carries through the 3 quarters. That is piss poor management by Kellen Moore and terrible coaching by Mike McCarthy. He's supposed to be one of your star running back. And you give him the ball 7 times for most of the game. Absolutely unacceptable, and that's definitely Kellen Moore yet again comes up short. And this is what I said before the game started. You can have Dak Prescott putting up all these numbers because also early in the game you turn over the ball. You're gonna have to those numbers in terms of yards, touchdowns this season have to turn into wins. That's not an option because if not, it's going to be a very awkward season again for the Dallas Cowboys. Begin the Marcus Lawrence and the passing attack and special teams were 3 issues that were huge ahead for the Cowboys. But the Bucs, though, man, I'm telling you though, I say one player to look out for this season. It may be 2 or 3 catches here and there. Is Scotty Miller. Kevin King knows exactly who that player is. Who needed a clutch first down? Scott Miller was there. And then that's where I think if this is my last point, that is, if people understand is that while Mike Evans didn't have a great game in terms of numbers, when they needed him to make a first down to help Ed's lead, you gave Mike Evans the ball and you let Antonio Brown wide open. Any team in the AFC North knows, do not leave Antonio Brown wide open. And that's really all my takeaways, but a lot of concerns moving forward with the Cowboys for sure.
Well, you guys both went. Here are my takeaways from this football game. First of all, let me say this. Bradley Pinion might be the best punter in the league. I mean, some of those punts that he had were amazing. Like that first punt that he had, he punts it 65 yards. Somehow it bounces in bounds at the 2-yard line, and then it just trickles out of bounds to the right. Like that was a perfectly placed punt by Bradley Pinion. He could not have done that any better in that first punt that he had. One of the second punts that he had, it was another marvelous punt. So that guy is an electric punter. I don't know why my San Francisco 49ers gave him away for nothing. It makes no sense. I would rather have him over our current punter, Mitch Wishnowsky, as our punter right now. But that's a different story for a different day. But Bradley Pinion is a really, really good punter. Happy for him to see him having success in Tampa Bay. But about this game in general, the Dallas Cowboys, they were who we thought they were. You know, we all said in our NFL preview show when we did it on Monday on Wild Sports Talk that it wasn't going to be their offense which would lead them or which would take them to the next level or to where they wanted to go. It was going to be the defense. Wherever that defense went was where the Cowboys were going to go because we know the offense is going to be great this season. Dak Prescott, he put up great numbers, 42, 58, 403 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. He was fantastic tonight. And he was also fantastic running the football as well. I was very surprised by how effective he was given that he didn't play a single preseason game and also that he didn't he had a shoulder injury like 2-3 weeks into training camp. So I was very surprised by how effective Dak Prescott was going to be in this game. I don't understand Kellen Moore and Mike McCarthy, like you said, John. Why did they not run the football more? I thought that Dallas was too pass happy, especially in the first half. Ezekiel Elliott, like you said, only had like 6 touches in the first half. Even to the third quarter, he only had like 6-7 touches. And then he finished with, I believe, like 9 or 11 carries in this game. They got to get Zeke more involved in the ball game. You know, you can't have Zeke just running the ball 11 times and you throwing the ball 58 times. That's not going to work if you want to win the ball game. You have to, especially when you're playing against Tom Brady. I know the Cowboys were behind most of this game, but you have to still have a balanced offensive attack. You can't just be pass, 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 and then have one run and then pass, 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 pass again. That's not going to work in the NFL. But I was surprised by how effective Dak Prescott looked. Zeke, what was really concerning was on some of the runs that he had, he looked slow. He looked really slow. He looked like he did not have that burst that made him into a monster running back 2-3 years ago. He looked slower than the old Ezekiel Elliott. That's really, really concerning if you're the Dallas Cowboys, because if, let's say, Dak or Zeke, is what I'm saying he is, like he's a slower version of what he used to be, then that's not good, because you paid him all that money. You expected him to be the workhorse running back, and now he's not going to give you much on what you invested in. So that is a big concern. But the Dallas Cowboys, their pass rush, man, it was non-existent all night. Like Tom Brady, he had, and you probably have to give a lot of credit to the Buccaneers offensive line for protecting Tom Brady well, but that pass rush was terrible. Tom Brady had at least like 4 to 5 seconds every time in the pocket to throw the football, and you can't give a great quarterback like Tom Brady that much time to throw the football, or else he's going to carve you up, and that's what Tom Brady did in this football game. And the secondary, where were they tonight? I mean, Antonio Brown was gashing them. Chris Godwin was gashing them. We're going to talk about that offensive PI or not in a second, but Godwin was gashing them. Brown was gashing them. Gronkowski was gashing them. The Cowboys, the reason why I'm not picking the Cowboys to win the NFC East is because of that defense. They show no improvement whatsoever. Their pass rush, non-existent. Their secondary sucks. It's going to be the same thing this season like we saw last season. Mark my words on that. The Cowboys defense, they're going to be atrocious again. I know they had those couple of takeaways, but second interception wasn't Brady's fault. That first one threw it a bit high, but that defense is terrible, man. Loro and John, that defense is terrible, and I just don't see the Cowboys going anywhere where they are right now with how pathetic that defense looked tonight.
Here's the thing with Dallas is that, first of all, Dak Prescott will not win MVP if they have a losing record and miss the playoffs, because we've seen this with other quarterbacks in the past, and that's why I disagree, because we've seen certain quarterbacks put up MVP like numbers and the team doesn't make the playoffs, and then all of a sudden they don't get really a shot or a lot of votes for MVP. I think that is absolutely insane, absolutely ridiculous. It shouldn't be like that. You had Deshaun Watson last year, threw from 5,000 yards, 45 plus touchdowns here, and he nearly threw the ball. He had a career year. They missed the playoffs. Didn't get considered for MVP. So I definitely think that's very, without a doubt, one unfortunate year of the sorts. But I agree, Ismail, it should be that way. But unfortunately, that's not how the NFL works, and that's just what it is right now.
Well, let's get into one of the comments that Ishmael had, and that was the offensive pass interference. You guys know, look, for me, I don't think it changed the game, because I thought the Buccaneers were going to come back anyways. Heck, even if it was offensive pass interference, Brady was probably going to throw another pass, and the Buccaneers were going to complete it for 10 to 15 plus yards and get into field goal range anyways, because that's how pathetic the Dallas defense was. But let me ask you guys this, and Loro, I'm going to start with you first on this. Was that offensive pass interference on Chris Godwin? Muted, man. I think you're muted.
Okay, sorry, my mic was muted. So what I meant to say, guys, is that from when I saw that play, I could not really tell if that was offensive pass interference. He was just trying to create separation. If he were pushing on that defender, that should have been offensive pass interference. I didn't think it looked like it to me. It was just hard to tell. I just felt like that Godwin made a clutch catch, and that was it. And then a lot of people were like, "Oh, that should have been pass interference." I think Terry McCauley was saying it on the broadcast today. He said that should have been called offensive pass interference. It was just, for me, it was just hard to tell. But I think this play right there is going to be talked about for a long time, because here's an example of what happened last year. that CeeDee Lamb made the catch in that Cowboys-Rams game last year, and they called it offensive pass interference. And then tonight, what we saw, that was a controversial play, and I get it, but I just couldn't. It was just hard for me to tell if that was an offensive pass interference.
Well, for me, before you go, John, I'm going to say this. I thought it was offensive pass interference just because I saw Godwin, he extended his arm, pushed the defender as he pushed the defender, which caused him partially to fall down. But I don't think it would have even affected the game because, like I said earlier, even if you call offensive pass interference, I think the Bucks were they were at midfield, I believe, when that happened. John Rodriguez can correct me if I'm wrong. Believe they were at midfield, and even if you call offensive pass interference with how pathetic the pass rush was for the Cowboys and how pathetic their secondary was, I think Tom Brady would have come back and fired a pass to either Godwin or Evans or Gronkowski or Antonio Brown, and they would have gotten it either way. So I don't really I know there's people out there on Twitter saying that they didn't call it because it's Brady and they wanted Brady to win the game because it's opening night and they're the defending champs and they're at home and it's the ring night and this and that and this and that. I thought it was offensive pass interference, but I don't think it would have changed the game. But John, what do you think about this? Do you think that was offensive pass interference, and do you have an issue with it not being called if you think it was offensive pass interference?
I might be biased just because I want Brady and the Bucks to win, but the fact of the matter is, anybody can blame it on that no call. That definitely should have been called. But at the end of the day, if there are going to be Dallas fans say that's the reason why we lost the game, then clearly they didn't watch the football game at all. When your passing attack couldn't do anything, special teams was inconsistent. I think that's definitely unfortunate for Dallas. That definitely should have been a call. But when you look at it, though, they had two more plays. The Bucks had two more plays right there to get the job done. Never count on Tom Brady, no matter what. It should have been called. I agree. But they had two more plays. Tom Brady would have came up with something, and the Bucks would have been just fine. The Cowboys defense would have let them down. But again, that's maybe a what-if situation, but definitely offensive pass interference. If that wasn't offensive pass interference in last year's game versus the Rams or Bears, I think, then that definitely should have been called this year versus the Dallas Cowboys. So it definitely should have been called. But again, if they're fancy and that's the reason why they lost the game, they clearly didn't lost the whole football game.
Yeah, there are a bunch of Cowboy fans that are saying that's the reason why they lost the game, but I doubt, it would have had any difference on the game. Yeah, you move the Bucks back 15 yards, but Brady's coming back to get to get it back after, that call is made. So I don't think that really would have had any impact on the ball game. But Justin makes a good point saying the kicker for the Cowboys, he was bad tonight. He was trash. I forgot to mention this in my earlier statement when we talk about this game. Greg Zuerlein was one of the big reasons why the Cowboys lost. Because think about it, he misses 2 field goals, or he missed 1 field goal, 1 extra point. The last one, I don't really, get that against him because it was a 60-yarder. Kickers rarely make that long of a field goal in the NFL. So he misses the field goal, the 30-plus yarder. He should have made that. I don't know how he hooked that way to the left. That was not even close. And then the missed extra point, man. How do you miss that, dude? You literally cost your team 4 points, and the Buccaneers, they won by 2 points. So technically, those are the points right there. If he makes those field goals, who knows? The Cowboys might be the winners of this game. Instead, they are the losers of this football game. But you're right, Justin. Greg Zuerlein was absolutely rubbish tonight, although he did make that clutch 48-yard field goal to put the Cowboys ahead before before Ryan Sucker. Right? Hey, John, it is late. We're all tired as heck.
So I just did 2 shows pre-recorded and the color cast 3.5 hours. So.
Justin says he was on my fantasy team. I dislike him. Well, I had Ryan Suckup, so I'm really happy with the result. But Fellas, it was a good short show. Great game tonight to open the 2021 NFL season, but it's time to head into tonight's final thoughts. All right, guys. It's been a great show. Great way to start the 2021 NFL season. Looking forward to seeing what happens the rest of week 1. But Laurel, thank you so much for joining me on tonight's program and filling in for the great Callum McClurg. What is your final thoughts for tonight's program? Laurel, I think you're muted again.
I thought it was a great football game, and I thought that Tom Brady played great. I just felt like what the Bucs could have done better today was that their pass rush, especially their front, they should have rushed Dak Prescott more. And if they did, it would have changed the complexion of the game. I just feel like that heading into next week when the Buccaneers take on the Falcons, their pass rush, I think they got to get to Matt Ryan. I think they will, but don't underestimate Matt Ryan because that offense of the Falcons is going to be lights out. With that offense with Calvin Ridley and Kyle Pitts and Matt Ryan, that's still a fantastic offense. But Tom Brady and the Buccaneers, they could really trounce that Falcons defense. And I'm also looking forward to talking about Tua Tagovailoa against my man Mac Jones of the New England Patriots. I'm looking forward to calling that game on the Colorcast app on Sunday and looking forward to talking about that game on Sunday on the Extra Point.
Yeah, make sure you guys tune in for that. That's going to be an amazing show with myself, Loro, and Ben. And maybe John will hop on and get roasted once again by me when it comes to my San Francisco.
No, you made the worst takes ever, and you said you would take a healthy 49ers team over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So nice try.
We're not going to get into that right now. We'll probably get
No,
into
but you
that.
said it. I have the video proof.
Yes, well, I said that, but we're not going to get into that right now. But John, thanks for joining us on the last minute program. What is your final thoughts for tonight's show?
It has been a busy week, and it's a good show. But I'm so glad NFL is back. These are the games that we love and hate. I was going through so many emotions. My parents were watching their movie out here. So I'm heading back into town tomorrow, but they were watching their movie. They could hear me screaming. I was screaming so fucking loud, and that's why I don't miss living in an apartment. Because now, when you look at it, I mean, I got to be so loud. But it was great to scream and be ecstatic and show all those emotions without having to worry about having any noise complaints. Because y'all know how passionate I am about football. So all that excitement, my throat is very sore from the Colorcast thing. The first half, entire halftime, and the second half, and 2 pre-recorded shows for Sunday and Monday. But it was great, and let's do it.
Yeah, definitely for sure, my man. Before I get into my final thoughts, actually, I want to remind you guys once again that we have a new fall lineup here on the MI6 Sports Network. If I could find it real quick, right there. But Mondays, Wild Sports Talk with myself, Adam Barber, and Loro. We will be live after Monday Night Football. You guys can catch us then. We will be recapping the Monday Night Football game as well as going through some of the Sunday games and maybe some college football action from Saturday. Then you have the Sports Lounge with Callan on Tuesdays. Wednesday, No BS with myself and Trevor at 6 p.m. Pacific. Not 9 p.m. Pacific like I posted on my my post that I had yesterday. The night shift with myself, probably Loro or some other guests, will be on Thursdays starting at 10:30 p.m. Pacific. I know tonight's program, it was like a last-minute thing because we just wanted to put something out there and talk about the Dallas Cowboys Buccaneers game. The night shift will now be on Thursdays at 10:30 p.m. Pacific. Wild Sports Talk is Friday at 6 p.m. Pacific. So you can catch Loro and Adam, as well as Chris Mabry, who will be filling in for me tomorrow, as I will be working the A's game tomorrow at the Oakland Coliseum. You guys can catch them starting at 6 p.m. or 6:10 p.m. Pacific. They'll be talking about the Dallas Cowboys Buccaneers game. Talk about the Ravens losing another running back and also losing Marcus Peters, as well as talk about some of the games they are looking forward to for week number 1 in the NFL and more important headlines as they come through. Saturday, we got the night shift at 10:30 p.m. Pacific. We're going to be recapping some of the college football action. And then Sunday, the Extra Point with myself, Loro, and Ben Kurz It was a great debut of the night of the Extra Point last week. On Sunday, we had about 110 plus views. Looking forward to seeing all you guys turn out once again for that program. So that's our new fall lineup. But my final thoughts is, I want to thank all of our fans: Justin Bossman, James Gonzalez, Ishmael Lancaster, and Kobe Forever 248 for tuning in on our program tonight. We really appreciate you guys for the love and the support. But glad that football season is finally here. Looking forward to seeing how my 49ers do on Sunday against the Detroit Lions. Looking forward to us winning the NFC and taking it back from Tom Brady and the Buccaneers. We'll see. We'll see if that happens. But looking forward also to college football games. This upcoming weekend, we've got a great weekend: college football, baseball, as well as the NFL. Great packed weekend. So make sure you guys get your hamburgers out, get your hot dogs out, get your sodas, get everything out, because it's going to be a great, great weekend. But for Isaiah Leung, John Alcorn, and Loro Antonio, it's been a great night. Thank you so much for tuning in here to our program here tonight. We will see you guys back here on the night shift on Saturday, but we will also see you on the MI6 Sports Network on tomorrow with Loro, Adam, and Chris, as he will be filling in for me. But until then, stay safe, stay healthy, and we will see you guys on tomorrow night. Have a good night, everybody.